area if we want to do it in our yard, or if you want to do a large public project at some place that some that's badly drained area here in East Alton, a big public rotary rain garden. Doesn't that sound great? I'm thinking about the Rotary Rain Garden for the Watershed Nature Center in Edwardsville. I already thought of that title for it. Anyway, here we go. Now, you can have it in a flat area. And this is a crude drawing. I know many of you are skilled in construction, probably owners of construction companies or something like that, but here we are. And your rain garden should be about 1/3 of the size of the area drained, in square footage. So if you're going to drain this part of the roof of your house, here's the downspout, and then you dig a little ditch 10 or more feet from the building. This is in a flat area, 10 or more feet from the building. And then you can fill this with rocks, or you can fill it with plants, with lower growing native plants if you want to. And then on the flat area, here is your rain garden. And you dig, what you do is the size of your rain garden depends on the size of the area to be drained. It should be about 1/3 the size of the drained area. Is that clear? Okay, then you dig in the center of it. You dig out a basin. Depending on the size of your garden, you dig out a basin 6 to 8 inches deep. And this is deeper. This is deeper than this part. And then this part is the edge of the rain garden. And the size of your garden will depend not only on the percentage of runoff from this area, but also on the kind of soil you have. One of the important things to do if you're planning to have a rain garden is to dig a test hole. You dig it, where's the test hole? Here it is. Dig a test hole. You want to evaluate your soil. In fact, you want to just look over your site very carefully. Are there any native plants growing there? Are there, what's going on with it? So you dig a test hole where you think you might like to have the rain garden, 12 inches deep. You fill it with water, and it should drain in 2 to 6 hours if you have sand or loamy sand in there, or loam. Sand or loamy mix of loam and sand or loam. It should drain. But if it's clay, how many people think they would have clay in their yard? Well, yeah, if you live in a subdivision, very often they've scraped off the beautiful prairie soil when they built the house. But anyway, you can make your rain garden, but because it takes so long to drain, you'll have to make it larger, and a little bit larger than 33%. Okay, so just back to the drawing here. So you have different zones in a rain garden. Around the edge where it could get dry, when we have one of our droughts in August or in July, where it could get dry, you plant native plants that can take it both wet and dry, and there's a lot of them. They're so resilient, And then getting toward the center, toward your settling basin here, which is 6 to 8 inches deep, you'll have plants that like a moist spot, like cardinal flowers. Are an example. They're beautiful red flowers, of course, as we talked baseball today. I could mention one flower. Okay, here they like moist. There's lots of plants that like moist. I'm not talking trees and shrubs. You don't plant those in your rain garden. You could plant river birch that likes water outside so their roots could run in there. But you don't want to plant those in. You want grasses and forbs. In here, you have plants that can stand in water and survive. But the nice thing about rain gardener, does anyone have any questions here right now? Is someone going to say, what about mosquitoes? What about mosquitoes? Well, it takes mosquitoes from 3 to 6 days to lay their eggs, have their larval stage, and then become the full-fledged pests that they are. So this is usually drains before the mosquito can mature. Also, if you really have a rain garden, they attract a lot of mosquito-eating critters, wild critters that'll eat mosquitoes. Frogs, you'll have frogs there, and toads, and maybe some snakes. We don't have poisonous snakes around here. You don't need to worry about that. We have beautiful black racers and garter snakes and things like that, okay? And you have birds, and lots of little birds eat mosquitoes and so forth. But if you don't, I brought some in my purse, Mosquito Dunks. Who knows about Mosquito Dunks? And most of our mosquitoes, where do they come from? They come from piles of tires. They come from bird baths that people never change and let sit there for a week. You can just put one of these in your rain garden. And these last 30 days. They're organic. They don't kill, hurt your dog. If your dog takes a drink from the rain garden, nothing will happen. You know, but they're just biological control for mosquitoes. And down there in Collinsville, in this rain garden, when it was really raining heavily last year, we drove some sticks in the ground and put some dunks around in the garden. I have never been bitten by a mosquito in this garden, and I worked there quite a few hours. So, you know, there's not. I thought someone might ask that. Okay. Anyway. Okay, we talked about the test hole. Here's another. A lot of rain gardens are on slopes. I made another of these silly diagrams for a slope here too. Let's see. Here's the slope. Okay, here's the slope. Again, it should be about a third the size of Grayberry. Here's the downspout. Here's the bioswale. And then you have to try to make it flat on the slope, your rain garden. You have to try to make a flat area that breaks the slope here. And you build a berm around it. And your berm has to have a spillway in case of heavy rain. And on your sheet it says, don't make it spill into the neighbor's yard. You know, you're supposed to aim it toward the storm drain or toward, you know, wherever, a creek, if you have a local creek, you know, aim it there, okay? So this is a kind of an idea. You can go online, if you go to Shaw's out there in Gray Summit, they'll have these sketches done much better. And your settling basin has to be a little bit deeper on a slope too. And the slope, you can't have a rain garden on a slope like this. It has to be a more gentle slope. I mean, it won't work if your slope is like a cliff, okay? So, okay. Now, I was going to show you, I have a picture here. Come by and look. I'm just going to leave the pictures up here. This is a business that has a rain garden below it. You know, you can see a business here. It's just a business building like a lot of them around here. And here's the people going in, and then 10 feet from the building, here's where their rainwater goes off their roof and their parking lot. They have a great big rain garden. This is in Kentucky. And my printer isn't good enough to really bring it up to snuff here, but okay. Are there any questions? We can just summarize the situation with rain gardens. Construction: the garden should be 10 or more feet from the building. It should be perpendicular to the flow of rainwater. You know, the rainwater should go in, and it should be lying across the path of the rainwater. And the berm should have an overflow. And you should always do a percolation test, just like we saw, to see what kind of soil you have. So are there any questions? Yes, Brad, Mr. DeWeet.
What's the cost and the turnaround time on, you know, the growth of the plants and stuff?
Okay, just depends on what you put in. You can, with native plants, just like all other plants, you can get big sizes or smaller sizes. So it would depend on that. The first year you'll have to cut back the bigger ones so they don't overwhelm the smaller ones. And the cost, most nurseries around here have some native plants. There's a wildflower nursery in Missouri where the little plants cost $2 and you buy 4 of them. You know, it's not that expensive. If you are doing it as a club to do it in East Alton, a Rotary Rain Garden in East Alton, you'd have all the labor. Easy for me to say. We'd have all the labor. There are companies that put in rain gardens. If any of you are wealthy and want to hire a big rain company to put in a rain garden. You can buy from Missouri Mulch. Has anybody ever heard of that? It's over in St. Louis. You can buy rain garden soil. They'll bring a truckload out and dump it. That's actually what they did at Card for Willoughby for this rain garden. Because the water was just really rushing down there before we put up some barriers to it. So I would say it can be very expensive or it can be not very expensive. Just depending on the size of plants you get. And native plants are not any more expensive. In fact, they're often cheaper than the more exotic